What is up, gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode on the channel. As always, so glad to have you lovely folks back on here. On today's episode, I wanted to look at how to manage and how to navigate relationships in this modern world. And when I'm talking about relationships, I am talking about all forms of relationships: romantic relationships, platonic relationships, professional relationships, any sort of human interaction that you're going to have. You need to be able to cultivate it, to manage it, and to grow it in a positive way. Guys, I don't want any of us to fall into the trap of thinking that we can do it on our own, that we should be lone wolves, and that we should go out into the world and to shun the rest of society. I find that those people that advocate this type of living are people that have sort of given up on everything that there is to experience in the world that is beautiful, and that always comes with the company of other humans. A part of being a great human being is to expose yourself, to be vulnerable, to put yourself out there, and to really demand of life the relationships and the experiences that you know you deserve to have. So what have I, in my almost 30 years of experience, figured out about relationships? Well, I'd like to think quite a lot, because I've had the opportunity to develop myself in all aspects of my life, with my family, in my intimate relationships, in my professional relationships, in my platonic relationships. And I work on these meticulously. I work on cultivating myself and becoming a better friend, a better boyfriend, a better son, a better brother, in every single thing that I do. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to be discussing on this episode, and how to do it. That's also what I'm going to be discussing on this episode. Let's start off with understanding the basis of all human interactions, which is cultivating emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? We hear this idea being thrown around a lot, and to keep it short, it is the ability to empathize, the ability to understand someone else, the ability to navigate social scenarios, the ability to communicate, the ability to get down to the core mechanics of what it means to be human and what it means to live in the world. Emotional intelligence is not something that we are born with. Sure, some people may be more predisposed to having better emotional intelligence, but it's something that, sure, through our young age, we become more socialized. Whether our parents give us the opportunities to be around kids our age, to have positive or to develop healthy relationships from a young age, both with our friends and with our parents. Some people may have had a blessed upbringing, and some of us may not have had the opportunity. But understanding that emotional intelligence is something that we have the ability to work on and to cultivate and to continuously practice over time is extremely empowering. Understand how you must manage yourself in this world. He or she who is unable to control their emotions in any given scenario is weak and powerless. True strength is not in the idea of getting angry. It's not in the idea of exerting your force onto someone else. Strength, in my opinion, comes from being able to understand the emotions that you're going through, to manage them, and to react to them in a positive and a healthy way. It's almost impossible to assume that you won't feel sad, or you won't feel flustered, or you won't feel angry. We are humans at the end of the day. Emotions and the full spectrum of emotions are a healthy part of life, but how we manage them and how we actually implement our reaction to these emotions says a lot about our character. Always concentrate on managing your emotions. So if you have a positive emotion, also allow that positive emotion to do what it needs to do, but not to overtake you. You never want to be on the highest of highs at the same time as you don't want to be on the lowest of lows. Try to find a healthy middle ground. Try to always acknowledge where you're at in a specific emotional setting and be able to manage the way that you navigate through it. I'll give you guys a specific example. I'm someone that has a little bit of an impatience. And impatience is something that I typically tend to work on. I find that in certain scenarios, when things are not progressing in the way that I wish they are progressing, I tend to get flustered. And this is something that I've consistently been trying to work on, of acknowledging when that feeling comes up and trying to find ways to not only acknowledge it, but to quell it or to allow it to pass in a way that is healthy and that is non-disruptive to me and to those around me. This is one very small example of a larger example. At the same time, when I'm experiencing high emotions, I also try to be very mature about how I experience those emotions, not to let them overtake me, not to let them make me do things that I may regret in future scenarios. So it's always about being mature in how you manage your emotions and not allowing those emotions to affect you more than they need to. Next up, we have our communication skills, and I've done a couple of episodes in the past on how to hone and how to demonstrate great quality communication skills. Communication is the way that you not only navigate the world, but the way that you communicate your goals, your ambitions, your personality, how you share yourself with others. So effective communication is the way that the world is going to see you. What you have in your mind, if not communicated correctly, is pointless. It's the same idea of the mad genius, the genius that is a genius in his mind, but is unable to actually exert himself or to communicate himself or herself in the world that is effective and in line with that genius. This is where good quality communication comes into play. We can seldom do things alone. We need people around us. Whether you're a business owner trying to get people on your side, trying to motivate them, trying to get them to see what you see and to get invested in what you see, communication is at the heart of that. Or whether you're a teacher trying to teach your students, trying to get them to absorb the power of the knowledge that you're giving them, or whether you are a friend trying to comfort another friend, communication is at the cornerstone of all of these important relationships. Effective communication is not only about what you do to people, but about how you and what you signify about yourself. Good body language is key. Have positive body language, have open body language, have body language that encourages you to approach the world in a way that is open, that is free, that is strong, and that is authentic. We've done other episodes in the past where I've gone into the specific details of body language, and I highly recommend you check it out. You also need to be a great listener. So many people fall short of listening. I always advocate the power of listening. When you take a moment to listen to someone, you gain so much. You gain so much more than when you talk. You are able to capture a piece of that person. And believe me, people will talk if you give them the chance, if you ask the right questions. If you engage yourself in the right way, people will be more than happy, more than willing to talk. The easiest way to make a friend is to ask them about themselves. The easiest way to make an enemy is to only talk about yourself. So many people have become extremely narcissistic in everything that they do. And this is just what I believe, a feature of the fact that we're yearning for connection. So when we find someone that we're able to connect to, we tend to forget the fact that this is also another human being. Maybe ask him a question, maybe ask her a question, maybe try to understand where they're coming from, maybe really pay attention, maybe try to get deep into what is being said and just make a connection there. It's such an under-tapped resource that so many people are not even in the same realm of thinking about. Most people are only thinking about themselves, and I understand that tendency, but it's not a way to live. Being so in your head is a way of taking from the world as opposed to giving to the world. Give to the world. Give, and eventually things will come back. But don't give with the expectation of return. Give because you love to give. Learn to love the giving in every way, shape, and form. Number 4 is conflict resolution. Oh, I love this one a lot because conflict is an inevitable part of life, and anyone who tells you to avoid conflict at all costs is not someone that will make any impact in this world. Anything you want is at the other side of an obstacle. In order to get the things that we want to achieve, the goals that we have in mind, we must overcome obstacles. Obstacles in people, obstacles in situations, obstacles in relationships. Obstacles are a natural part of life. They are the barrier to anything that we truly want. I never shy away from obstacles. I never shy away from conflicts. Anything that presents a conflict, I find myself drawn towards because it gives me the opportunity to exercise wisdom, judgment, temperance, patience, empathy. Whether it's something that someone wants from me, maybe I did something wrong to someone. I may not know that I've done that wrong thing in the moment, but the very fact that I'm having this quote-unquote conflict allows me to gather myself, to not get triggered by a specific scenario, and to really demonstrate to myself and to the world around me my ability to remain calm and to find a suitable resolution to any specific conflict that I might have. I love to see this in business because conflict resolution is at the cornerstone of every successful business relationship that you have. If you assume that you're going to have a business client that is going to have no issues at all, well, you're going to find yourself out of luck. Your ability to handle conflict is directly correlated to your ability to move through the world, to make more money, to be at better relationships, to assert yourself in a way that is good for you and good for others. So learn to handle conflict, learn to understand the other person, and also learn to assert yourself where you need to in a way that is founded and that is also grounded. Number 5 is setting boundaries. Boundaries are a way for us to create the world that we know that we need to have. So your boundaries can be very, very articulate, but if you don't enforce your boundaries, well, there's no point in having them at all. So there's a difference between having boundaries and enforcing boundaries. Enforcing boundaries does not necessarily mean to do this in a way that is at the detriment of others. On the contrary, sometimes the lack of enforcing your own boundaries can lead to the complete disintegration of a relationship. So know what your boundaries are and maintain your boundaries. Do so in a way that is effective and in a way that actually creates a stronger relationship with whoever you're setting the boundary with. I know this as a business owner that I have specific boundaries for me and my team that I will not negotiate on. And I'm willing to play the part of what I would consider or what I would have considered to be more of a bad person in order to assert those boundaries. And I know now what I didn't know back then, which is asserting your boundaries is not only useful for you, but it is useful for all those around you. It allows you to cultivate and to grow a more transparent relationship, a healthier setting, and one where everyone knows where they stand. make sure to always enforce your boundaries and to set boundaries that are fair on everyone and are for the greater good. Number 6 is trust and honesty. Trust is by far one of the most important character traits that I look for in the people that I surround myself with, and trust is one of the most important things that I try to cultivate on a day-to-day basis. I honestly cannot remember the last time I told a lie, because it's just something that when you get it out of your system, when you purge yourself of the ability to lie, you find yourself unable to lie. You find yourself unable to say things that are not truthful. Your voice quivers. You feel this pit in your stomach. You have a sort of visceral reaction, a negatively visceral reaction to the idea of lying, because you know it's inauthentic, you know it's it's not aligned with the person that you wish to be. I myself identify as someone who tells the truth no matter what, even if it's sometimes at the detriment of what I'm trying to do or what I'm trying to achieve, because I know that if I tell the truth, that at least I'm still aligned to that person that I wish to be. Because if I gain something at the benefit or at the detriment of lying, sure, I may have gained that thing in the immediate, but I've lost a part of myself that I've been growing for the last 30 plus years. So build trust, build honesty, not only in those around you, but in yourself. Because when you look at yourself in the mirror, you make a promise to yourself. You deep down know, you don't have to have anyone with you in that room, but if you are in the habit of lying to others, more likely than not, you're also in the habit of lying to yourself. And if you can't look at yourself in the mirror to make a dedication to yourself, to something that you wish to achieve, to a goal that you wish to grow towards, you'll never get there. You'll know very well that you are lying, that you're not going to do it, that you're not going to actually achieve the thing that you set out to achieve, and you may not as well try at all. Never lie to anyone, and most of all, never lie to yourself. Number 7, get into the habit of supporting, encouraging others. The way that you support others, the way you encourage others says a lot about yourself. He or she that cannot feel proud, cannot feel happy for someone else, is someone who cannot feel happy for themselves. I love hearing good news from my friends. I love hearing good news from the people that I care about, whether it's a team member of mine, or whether it's a friend of mine, or whether it's a parent, or whether it's a brother. The idea that they've come and shared this good news for me is a way for me to celebrate with them. I give all of my attention to any good news that I hear, and I truly try to internalize it as my own. I hate to see this. I hate to see others that have heard good news from someone else and immediately they hop into the time that they had the similar good news. I understand it can be exciting to share your own experiences, but when someone is coming to share good news, give them the moment in the spotlight. Allow them to rejoice in whatever it is. They might have purchased something, they might have made a new promotion, they might have had a new experience that they're very proud of. Live that experience with them. Live it as deeply and as truly as you can and encourage them. So few people actually take a moment to encourage others, to say, hey, listen, you did a really good job. I really appreciate you coming in. I really appreciate you putting forth that idea. I see what you tried to do there. The fact that so few people just gain any sense of encouragement from the world is honestly something that I find at the complete detriment of society. Take a moment. Appreciate the work of others. Appreciate the things that people do for you, and go out of your way to do positive things for others. Not with the expectation of anything in return, but just simply because this is your gift to give. Whether it's a word of encouragement or an actual act of service or whatever it is, this is your gift. And rejoice in the act of giving, not in the act of receiving. Number 8 is adaptability and flexibility. Adaptability and flexibility does not come at the detriment of enforcing who you are and what you want. Adaptability and flexibility is the biggest strength of all. Because if you identify with a specific set of values and you're unwilling to challenge those beliefs or those values, well, that tells me that you're unwilling to actually evaluate yourself for who you truly are, which is a flawed person, a person that is always growing, a person that is always sort of trying to become a better version of themselves. What you know today is not going to be the be-all and all of everything that you will know in history, because if it is, then you might as well start the process of dying today. Understand that the act of being flexible is a sense of strength. It tells yourself that you're not hooked, you're not linked to a set of beliefs or a set of ideals, that you're willing to challenge yourself because you understand that even if those beliefs were taken away from you, that it would not change who you are at your very core. Your core is not attached to your money, it's not attached to your status, it's not attached to your relationships, it's not attached to your car, it's not attached to anything you may own or anything you may believe. Your core is you. It's your very being, it's your very authentic self, and your authentic self is always in flux and it's always changing. Adaptability is strength. Always listen to others with an open mind, and sure, if you don't believe in something, enforce yourself, assert yourself, stand up for what you believe in, but also keep an open mind. Be willing to learn, be willing to change, be willing to understand that at the other side of an opposing argument is the potential to learn something that you didn't know before. Open your ears, and that's where you'll find your biggest moments of growth. And last but not least, the key to developing and maintaining healthy and good relationships is the idea of consistent growth, and personal satisfaction. So always understand that you need to self-reflect on yourself and you need to keep pushing forward. If you don't take a moment to evaluate your actions, if you don't take a moment to evaluate how your day has done, whether it's through journaling, whether it's through a video blog, whether it's through therapy sessions, you will never actually evaluate. Am I on the right track or am I on the wrong track? He who goes through the world without a sense of self-reflection is he who is blind to his own shortcomings. Never be blind to your own shortcomings. We are all deficient in one way or another. And the way that we overcome these deficiencies is not in ignoring them and not in acting like we're ostriches and digging our heads into the sand and completely believing that these things do not exist. It's in acknowledging the things that are not good about ourselves, writing about them, evaluating why they happen, looking at the triggers, and trying our best, whether it's through seeking help or through actually doing the work ourselves, overcoming these challenges. Also having a consistent mindset of growth, of development, of the fact that today is another stepping stone towards the person that I'll ultimately become, and I may never achieve the ideal version of myself, but it's a damn good thing to be striving towards. That's all you can ask for. That goal, that lofty goal, that mirage at the end is, sure, it may be a mirage, it may be a destination that we may never get to, but it sure as hell is something that is well worth pursuing. So guys, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to see me do other episodes like this, let me know which topics you guys would like to see me talk about. I do videos on all things such as fashion, how to cultivate a better sense of fashion, and how to cultivate a better sense of style. I do things about how to be a better person, how to develop yourself better, how to communicate better, how to set up a better business, how to actually just be a better leader overall. And if you guys want to see me talk about any topics other than these, let me know in the comments below. I always enjoy hearing from you guys from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Shadi TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.